Today, Winston-Salem police are expected to release more information about that mass shooting at Lineback Park on Monday. And in a few hours, the second person charged in connection with the shooting will appear in court.
Our morning reporter Aaron Burnett is joining us now live. And Aaron, this is interesting because even though the suspect is just 17 years old, he's being charged as an adult.
That's right. His name is Steven Villanueva, and he is facing a felony inciting to riot charge. Right now, he's being held in the Alexander Juvenile Detention Center, but he'll be in court later this morning for his first appearance, where a judge is expected to set his bond. We got a few new details, guys, from Winston-Salem police yesterday about this case. Police told us that 3 out of the 5 people who were shot are still in the hospital, and all of the victims are recovering. We also learned that multiple people, including adults, were aware of the planned fight that happened leading up to the shooting, and police say they were never contacted before the fight took place. Police also revealed to us that every person that will face charges in this case was an active participant.
Aaron, you were in court yesterday as the first person arrested in the investigation made their court appearance, Joel Gamble-Tolliver.
So what did you learn from that, Aaron?
We learned a few things, guys. Joel Gamble-Tolliver is also being charged with that felony riot charge, and a judge set his bond for that charge to $25,000. He's also being charged with felony child abuse, but yesterday's hearing was not about that charge specifically. The 18-year-old's mom was also in the courtroom, and at the end of the hearing, she asked the judge if her son could be on an ankle monitor at home. She described him to the judge as a good kid. She said he's helpful around the house and has a job. She also emphasized the fact that he comes from a 2-parent household and has never been a, quote, problem child, but the judge ultimately declined that request. But we will continue to keep you guys updated with all the developments we get, not only in the courtroom, but on this case as Winston-Salem police continue to investigate. For now, live in Winston-Salem, I'm Aaron Burnett, WXAI 12 News.
Thank you, Aaron. Our coverage of this deadly shooting continues in our next half hour. You can always find the latest developments on our website, WXAI12.com.
In Thomasville, one man is facing murder charges in connection to a deadly shooting last year. On October 5th, officers responded to Thomasville Crossing Shopping Center for a reported shooting. Officers found Larry Upchurch suffering from a gunshot wound. Police say he died at the scene. Following an extensive investigation, a true bill of indictment for first-degree murder was issued for this man, Joshua Elliott. He turned himself into authorities yesterday. Elliott is currently being held on a $500,000 secured bond.
This morning, a Lexington woman is in jail accused of killing her father. 20-year-old Malenga Allen is charged with first-degree murder. 1 week ago, deputies found Allen stabbed multiple times in the area of Whispering Oaks Drive. Right now, it's unknown how she got stabbed. Nearby, deputies found her dad, Michael Allen, dead inside of his Bryant Road home. An autopsy report showed that he died from a sharp force trauma, and his death was ruled a homicide. The sheriff's office says evidence showed this was premeditated. Next week, the FBI and the Davidson County Sheriff's Office will share an update on an 18-year-old accused of planning to attack a synagogue. Court documents show that Angelina Hicks of Lexington planned an attack targeting the congregation Beth Israel in Houston in 2028. The 18-year-old is facing felony conspiracy charges. The sheriff's office will hold a news conference about the investigation Monday at 10 a.m.
A former police officer from North Carolina is accused of plotting a mass shooting at a festival in New Orleans. Christopher Gillum was arrested at a hotel in Destin, Florida this week. Deputies say they found a gun and roughly 200 rounds of ammunition in his hotel room. While the festival he was targeting was not revealed, the Jazz Fest is taking place right now in New Orleans. According to CNN, Gillum was a Chapel Hill police officer from 2004 until 2019 when he resigned from the force. Burlington police say he was reported missing on Tuesday in Alamance County. A U.S. Special Forces soldier involved in the operation to capture Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro is facing criminal charges. An indictment reveals Master Sergeant Gannon Van Dyke used classified information about the mission to win more than $400,000. Prosecutors say he wagered $32,000 of that through the prediction market website Polymarket. Authorities say Van Dyke put his own winnings into a foreign cryptocurrency vault before depositing it into an online brokerage account.
5:07, President Donald Trump pushing back on questions about the war with Iran exceeding his self-imposed 4 to 6 week deadline.
Rachel Hersheimer explains why the president is being tight-lipped about when he plans on ending the ceasefire.
President Trump said he's giving Iran more time to get their turmoil in order, claiming they don't even know who's running the country. He also added he's in no rush to end the war.
I want to take my time. We have plenty of time. And I want to get a great deal. I want to get a deal where our nation and the world is safe from lunatics with nuclear weapons.
The president also said higher gas prices Americans are paying are worth ensuring Iran doesn't develop a nuclear weapon. He was asked if oil doubles to $200 a barrel, would he be okay with that? And the president answered in part, I think that there's nothing worse than a nuclear weapon that takes out one of your cities or two of your cities or three. As the war enters its 9th week, the president claimed Thursday Iran's leadership is fractured. But a spokesperson for Iran's foreign ministry called his comments a form of deflection. All of this comes just hours after President Trump ordered the U.S. military to shoot and kill Iranian small boats that deploy mines through the Strait of Hormuz. Experts argue Iran's leverage over the Strait of Hormuz could give the country more power during the ceasefire because economic risks of higher gas and oil prices could push President Trump to end the blockade over Iran's ports, especially during an election year. In Washington, Rachel Hersheimer, WXII 12 News.